right, let's go ahead and kick off. We'll have quite a few people come through the room as we get started. We usually see it picking up, and then as more people share the room, we get more people in. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. As you heard, I am not feeling well, so I will not be my typically jivey, happy, energetic self, but I am going to try to be here and add value, and I really did not want to miss the conversation. So I rallied up here to be here for you all. I will be remiss if I don't do the following. I will get in trouble. So my name is Jacqueline, and I will be your host today. ISA Group is a market research, data, and consumer insights firm, and we specialize in emerging markets, specifically, as of late, if you will, cannabis and crypto. I tease because we have been doing massive amounts of consumer COVID work too. So I tease that somehow I got myself in the business of crypto, COVID, and cannabis. And then I guess what happened is we were only going to talk about cannabis and crypto tonight. So I got COVID so I could fill in the other C. So here we are, COVID, cannabis, and crypto. COVID is not our topic today, just your host. And our whole entire month this month is cannabis and crypto. We also have a show on Friday that is run by Adriana Hemans called CannaFact Friday. It is a LinkedIn show. We've been collecting many, many years of consumer cannabis data, 1,000 consumers across the U.S. for every 2 weeks for many, many years, capturing all of the different trends and evolution within the space. And now we are taking all of that data and insights and information along with the study and work on Web3 and connecting this all together. Hence, here we are. At the end of this month, I will be speaking at NFT Expoverse on the topic of crypto and cannabis, which is very exciting. This is really kind of the first time I've seen us get on stage, with that combo of topic. And I know why I believe that there is a perfect marriage between these two spaces. And I'm really going to be excited to hear from you guys. But when we think about the traditional cannabis space and all the challenges around going to markets, right? So everything from funding to money to regulation to advertising to placement to cross-state borders, all of these things, right, are challenges that have slowed down some of the adoption within the cannabis space. And now as we take a look at blockchain technology and the Web3 space, most of those major issues that have been blockers so far now go away. So it'll be really interesting, in my opinion anyway. So now it'll be very interesting to see how this evolution comes. So we'll spend the first 40 minutes or so chatting with our panelists up here with a couple of key questions. We'll get some feedback on themselves, what brought them here, also the amazing projects they're working on. And then we will go ahead and open it up to the stage. And anyone in the stage is welcome to raise their hand and come on up. One thing to note is unless you're on your mobile, you will not be able to speak on the stage. On PC, it seems to be listen only. And we do have some prizes, which I'll turn over to Hugh, and he will announce some of the giveaways that will happen during the room. And then I'm going to kick you all off with a question. Does that sound fair to everybody? Who's excited? I need to hear some energy.
Let's
here.
do it!
There, someone's not. Okay, let's do this. All right, so Hugh, I'm going to turn it over to you to get us going. Tell us about the prizes, and then once Hugh does that, we'll jump right in, and I'll have each of you guys, just spend a couple minutes talking about yourself, how you got into cannabis and crypto, and what your project is. Hugh, over to you.
Awesome. Well, I just got over COVID too. I thought I bypassed it, and I caught it a couple weeks ago, and then now I shook it off. But thanks, Jax, for making the time to come into the space. I know you've been traveling and super busy with the brand and the company. I need to get a little bit of updated on the prizes. I know before we were giving out Ethereum, we were also giving out a pass to the NFT Expoverse, which was happening at the end of July. I think that was I don't know if we've given that away or we're still giving that away, but
yeah. So that one's posted up at the top.
Okay, cool.
The NFT Expoverse giveaway. It's a VIP ticket worth $3,000, and we have the $100 in ETH. We have a couple of whitelist list spots from Gripner, and then I saw Gina sent us something else through earlier today. Gina, can you remind us?
Yeah, Canna Farm is going to give away 3 whitelist spots.
Yes. Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
And as you guys are going through and like speaking too, we can post your links up to the top. We want to make sure your links get posted up there so everybody knows what to do. And then we'll make sure we give away some prizes and some ETH, right? We give away some ETH. So I think we're good. Anything else I forgot to get us going?
No, I mean, if you guys have a post with your brand, your project, and you guys want to do some giveaways, get that post ready. You can pin it up to the nest. I just want to thank everybody for coming into the space. My name is Hugh Benjamin. My background for the last 10 years has been digital marketing and business development, and I got into the NFT space about a year ago. A couple of the people that I invited, actually, the gentleman from Monster Buds, that was one of the first NFTs that I got involved in. It was kind of funny because a couple months back they did a really huge event, and if you had an NFT, you could actually attend. I was so busy at the time. I wish I could have gone to that event, and they're coming in talking about their NFT project and also Play to Earn, which is really cool, incorporating everything with cannabis. And then we also have Roe Edery from Click. And Click is actually working with Mike Tyson and the Apocalyptic Apes. And I want to thank him for taking the time out too, for being in the room. He's the CEO of Ginger Converse and the founder of Click Spray. So, through my relationships in the space, I wanted to invite them in because I think they offer a lot of value within this realm of the topic that we're talking about. But I just want to thank you guys for coming into the room. My name is Hugh Benjamin. Make sure you guys follow all the speakers, all the hosts, and give them some love back. And, we'll exchange that energy with everybody. So thank you.
Hey, Jarrett, let's start with you. You had your energy there. Who are you? Why are you here? How did you get here? What cool thing are you working on? Tell us your whole life. You have 2.5 minutes.
How did I get here? It's a great question. I don't actually have an answer. But I'll tell you that I'm a TV director by trade, and I've turned entrepreneur for the last 17 years. I've been doing digital marketing, mostly for TV and film properties, digital extensions, extending IP from traditional TV and film properties into digital spaces. Really, it's been about audience building and engagement. I launched about 3 years ago a Web 2 and soon to be Web 3 startup called Fuserly, which began as a fan art design platform that gave fans the assets and really simple tools to make and share fan-made content around the TV and film properties they love using official assets approved by rights holders. And now we're gearing up to be the world's first marketplace for fan-created digital collectible NFTs made from right-cleared pop culture content. And so that's what Fuserly is all about.
Awesome. What has been your biggest surprise in the space that maybe you weren't expecting?
I mean, I would just say it was watching the PFP bubble form and pop. It was like watching that whole, we called it the pet rock phase, but watching that whole speculative thing happen, which I wouldn't have really considered to be part of this space. And it dominated the space. So it was a surprise to me that was the first use case for this tech.
Yeah. Yep. Totally interesting, right? I wasn't anything that's happening right now. I would not have told, even 6 months ago, I would not have told you I thought was going to happen.
Right.
That's why when my, my board and investors are like, we need a 3-year plan. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in 3 days. Right?
Yeah, a 3-year plan.
I'll tell you in 3 years, I'll tell you what my plan was on how I got here.
Right. It's got to be flying by the seat of your pants and adjusting weekly.
Yep. Flexibility and nimbleness are key. Roy, let's hear a little from you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Name's Roy Edery. Been in the cannabis space since 2013. Started a delivery service in California called Ease. Stayed in the industry. 2019, I launched Click Spray, which is a sublingual oral spray, basically kind of the Banaka of weed, for those of you familiar with the Banaka Blast mouth spray. So we sort of built a product that is, we believe, for a new generation of cannabis consumers that are looking to live a healthier lifestyle, smoke a little less, and just have kind of a discreet product. So launched the Click Spray in 2019. Most recently did a nice collab SKU with Mike Tyson, and then working with Fiddy and the Apocalyptic Apes community to launch a collab NFT project, which you guys will be hearing about soon. And also, most recently, about a year ago or so, I co-founded and I'm currently the CEO of a company called Ginger Commerce. And Ginger is a B2B direct-to-consumer technology and logistics provider for the cannabis space. What we do is we specialize in building access for cannabis brands to be able to sell their product directly on their website for consumers who choose to not go to a dispensary and buy online and get it delivered to their home. And we use it as an engagement tool for the brands to be able to actually drive traffic to their own website, tell their own story in their own words, rather than sort of sell on the big delivery service websites where you sort of get lost amongst all of your competitors. But interestingly enough, to be on target with the topic of the conversation today, what we've done is we essentially API-ified access to legal cannabis inventory. And so now we have an entire developer community that is building on top of the Ginger Commerce API and integrating the ability to sell cannabis legally into Web3 projects in the metaverse, etc. So happy to chat a little bit more about that. That's a bit about me.
Oh yeah, we definitely want to hear more about that. And Roy, we talk with clients a lot, right? Especially some of our more traditional like CPG clients that are like hiding and waiting to come out in the cannabis space. And one of the biggest concerns, right, is that through whether it's dispensary or delivery, that they lose sort of the control of that brand experience. And I know that that's been one of the challenges. So amazing to hear there's some solutions coming in. And I really have to thank you for bringing the word Banaka back to my life, because probably the last time I heard it was maybe like 30 years ago, and I probably would have gone my whole rest of my life without ever hearing it again.
There's an entire generation of Americans who are alive today because their teenage parents or their teenage father squirted a couple of Banaka blasts in their mouth before asking their mom out on their first date.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and then the teachers used to get so mad about the Banaka. It's too much. So thank you for that memory. I really appreciate it. Greg, how about yourself?
Hey, so my name is Greg Tumulo, co-founder and CEO of Monster Buds, and basically got started with this, early last year. Really, the concept started being born in around March, and wanted to bridge the gap between, the cannabis industry and Web3, between multiple verticals. So our targets are, as Hugh mentioned, was play-to-earn gaming, but also, in real life events like we threw at 420. And then we also want to just, kind of bring it in all in with media and branding. So we're creating a global brand as Monster Buds. And, our first foray into Web3 has been, interesting. It's the best thing about it is being able to iterate on demand and be able to, kind of like what everybody was saying, move with the flow. And most of my other businesses that I've had, I come from a marketing consulting background, done that for the last, 20 years. And, it's most of them are, you're not really changing rapidly as you are in this space. So it's definitely, crazy the challenges that come about, and, the entire space changes with it, which is cool. But cannabis has always been, basically something I've lobbied for in my area. I live in probably the worst state possible for cannabis, and that's in North Carolina. So we got a lot of lobbying to do, and it's coming along pretty well. So I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate you guys inviting us to come up with Monster Buds.
Yeah, excited too to talk about how we overcome some of these challenges and kind of unlock that next level. And now let's just hear from Canna Farm Club. I want to hear a little bit about what you're up to, and then we're going to kick off with a tough question. I'm just kidding. It's not that hard.
Hello, my name is Daniel Ayala. Thank you for having me in this space. My background is in business development and marketing. And I decided to embark on this NFT project after my travels in Colombia, where I spotted an emerging opportunity in the global trade of cannabis. And I thought it would be a good idea to incorporate NFTs to democratize investment in the production of cannabis to supply the global trade, specifically from Colombia, for many competitive advantages that tie down to cultivation of cannabis, which include cost of production, the yearly yield that you can produce, laws, regulations. So that's how it all started. We began with a greenhouse prototype of 16 plants to test things out in international business and international cultivation before launching, our website and our NFT collection. And so in the past 3 weeks, 2 weeks and a half, we've been building our community on Twitter, made our website, and, built basically in the phase of community building, branding. We're launching an e-commerce store that will tie down to, it's a subscription service for hemp oil and CBD oil sourced and produced in Colombia, which our holders will find quite beneficial since they will be NFT holders. So kind of like a self-sustaining community behind the actual business that we will be building in the future.
Well, we certainly thank you so much. We certainly have a diverse group of you up here, and so let's hear some different opinions. I heard. There's probably a lot of people in the audience who are hearing words and they're like, "What are they talking about?" But in the cannabis space, right, we have challenges, and you guys mentioned this, right? Finance, logistics, regulation, tracking seed to sale, direct engagement with the consumers, advertising. So like all of these things that we're able to do in traditional business, right? We're not able to do either because of the regulations that are in place or the regulations that are not in place, right? Either way, we're screwed, whether they're in place or not in place. So from your perspective, how do you think the technology has really allowed you to be able to advance and bring these projects forward, bring us kind of that next level? What's the unlock?
Well, blockchain has opened many doors, and in the cannabis industry, I'm familiar with the project that I'm operating, but one of which is democratizing investment in cannabis, fractionalized ownership, whether that be cannabis or an asset of any kind, whether it be a car, a watch, a house. So I believe blockchain technology, including NFTs, has definitely impacted in a positive way in many projects actually, and it gives the power back into the people.
And for those in the audience that are newer to the space, and we talk about finance and democratization, like what does that mean for them? Can you just give them a quick background of what you're talking about?
Yes, democratizing. Basically, the way in the investment world, you have these large investment funds. In order to partake in this investment fund, you need to be an accredited investor, which you have to be earning a certain amount of money per year in order to qualify as an investor for the business. And so I believe cannabis is a plant of the people, and if anything, the people should capitalize on the opportunity of the global trade of cannabis. And right now we have large corporations taking advantage of that. And that's what democratizing comes in, putting the power and the ability with the people. And that comes through blockchain technology and NFTs. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I was talking back to you, but it was just me and my mute button. Anyone else want to jump in on this? I'm really interested to explore more of this idea around the funding, the fundraise, the building of the community, and really kind of how those things are different in the Web3 versus the Web2 or the category space.
Yeah, I can jump in if I may. So, obviously, having been an entrepreneur in the space for about 8 years, and every startup needs capital, and even if it's self-funded from the get-go, at some point, especially if you actually have a successful company, you're going to need more capital to scale your successful idea. And raising capital is very difficult in the cannabis space. So I think one aspect of it is this is an opportunity for people who might not be accredited actually be able to invest in cannabis, to be able to invest through some sort of an NFT offering. But I would say it also, on the flip side, is an opportunity for entrepreneurs to raise capital in a way that they otherwise wouldn't be able to, and it's very, very difficult to raise capital in this space. So, sort of, I think it's the best of both worlds. It gives folks the opportunity to invest in cannabis that otherwise might not be able to, but equally, it actually gives the entrepreneurs access to capital that they may not actually otherwise be able to have access to, and that's important for them as well. One of the things that we're doing on the Click side is working on an NFT project where members of the community would essentially, by owning an NFT, be receiving some sort of a royalty or a reward or a return based on their ownership of the NFT and sort of the success of the company or the project. So I think you're going to see more and more of these types of projects that are going to be yielding returns and value in one form or another to the owner of the NFT, rather than the idea of owning the NFT or just sort of buying the NFT low, hoping it goes up and selling it high, but rather looking at it as a vehicle for the founders to raise money, add tangible value to that NFT that then the owner can sort of draw the benefit of.
Which I love, right? So we're looking here at two spaces coming together that both give the opportunity for people to be elevated and uplifted that may not otherwise in traditional society. And I think that that's super exciting. We talked at ISA, Craig and I were on stage just I don't know when. I'm always on stage, but we were talking to a bunch of market researchers, and Craig was reminding them that we're not entering, the new time of customer centricity, right? We're not really talking anymore about B2B or B2C. There really is this uprise of C2B, which is consumer driving the business. And we do these shows all the time, and they're very disruptive and extremely interruptive to many traditional markets, right? Especially when you start thinking about entertainment and music and film, etc. But in this space, right, it seems to break down a lot of barriers. I heard you guys also talk a little bit about some of the benefits that NFTs or this type of project offers around, whether it's rewards and loyalty programs, subscription services, accessibility. Do you all want to talk a little bit about that? How this gives you access to direct access to consumers, and how that kind of changes the game, or how you kind of interact with that group?
Yeah, I can take that one for a minute. With Monster Buds, one thing that we've looked at is trying to, give access to certain verticals like I was talking about before. So, what we wanted to do, we had a couple of different NFTs that we dropped. The first one we did was a free mint, and it was called the Puff Puff Pass. Well, that became our utility token. And but this was back in September of last year when we minted, and there was a lot of gas wars and some craziness. So we decided to create the Puff Puff Pass to become a non-burnable pass, but it was basically a mint pass. So you can go ahead and mint before everybody else. And we saved, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was ridiculous. We saved about 1,300 ETH compared to like the mint prior to us, which was insane. So it worked out really well. And then the pass became our utility. And then we started bridging that with, cannabis companies and figuring out ways that we can try to, get gifts to our Puff-Up pass holders. So we ended up formulating our party, which was on 4/20 of this year. And we did it in California, Orange County. And it was pretty cool because we used Token Proof, which is an app that can validate your NFTs without having to, actually bring your wallet to an event, which is so important when you go into an event. You don't want to have to bring a mobile wallet, cause security issues. So Token Proof, we partnered with them super early. We were one of the first to kind of deploy it. And, you scan a QR code at the door and it validates that they were a Puff-Up pass holder. They come in, they get a care package with a lot of our sponsors, include, some really cool cannabis products, and then, VIP section, food, all that stuff, and free drinks, all from holding, a specific NFT, which was really cool. So we kind of proved that out as proof of concept. And then we also use that to airdrop NFTs from one of our partners. And we partnered with Packwoods, which is a major cannabis company based out of Los Angeles. And they kind of gave us 865 of their digital blunts that they're minting coming up at the end of the month. And those got airdropped at 4/20 on 4/20 to all of our Puff-Up pass holders. So, again, showing a way that we can take a real life cannabis company, integrate them into Web3, and then show them how powerful it is to reach that consumer based on a token that they hold, which is, to me, is like, that's the way it's got to be. That's like the future of marketing. It's a different avenue. It's a different touch point. And it just gives that extension of a brand that they can't reach anywhere else. So it's super exciting to see where we take this.
Yeah, like me too. I was so on what month? We're July. So on July 15th, there's an article coming out in MG magazine about cannabis and crypto, and I did a long interview for it. And at the start of the interview, he was like, I really don't think that there's much here. I just kind of wanted to explore it. And then after, I think I was like, oh, let me tell you. And I might have went on for 40 minutes. And then I finally paused and breathed for a second. And he was like, wait, this is a thing. And now I'm really excited to see the article come out and where we kind of went with it. But yeah. And then as we started talking about it, right, it became bigger and bigger. I feel like it's really snowballing right now in a good way. I'm also one of those crazy people that believes that that bear markets, recessions, bubbles are the time for innovation and ingenuity. And some of the best brands and companies in the world have been built out of recessions and times like this. I'm just curious how you guys are feeling about, the current market and where you are with your projects.
The bear.
Crypto winter.
I've been through it before, so I'm prepared.
Nervous? Not nervous about your personally, but as it relates to your projects, are you having to do anything different? Are you engaging with folks different, or you're just all full steam ahead?
I can just say that.
Go ahead, Jared.
I was going to say that Fusely is still pre-launch, and we were rushing, and now we've slowed down just to take advantage of the current market to observe and adjust and develop our use case a little bit. So it's given us an opportunity to just put on the brakes a little bit and make sure that we're hearing what we're watching what's happening again, back to the PFP thing, and watching what's happening with communities and engagement, and pulling back and slowing down and retooling our approach to engagement so that there's more relevance, and we're trying to avoid that problem of promote, drop, and then nothing or very little, and just try to keep it an ongoing thing. So it's given us a chance to slow down a little bit, which I appreciate.
And
this is Hugh. I was going to ask a quick question for some of the people that have projects integrated with NFTs. What do you find works best for creating that value in a community? I know I read a quote the other day that said value is currency. what are some of the things that you guys are integrating into your communities when it comes to the people that are the holders or your customers? I know for the door-to-door model, I'm sure there's probably a necessity like value there. You know, when you look at the economy right now, I'm sure maybe right now during these stressful times, people are ordering maybe more cannabis. What are some of the things that you guys are incorporating right now?
To build on that question, Roy, did you see a big increase? So we did a lot of work during COVID that was cannabis related, especially since, you know, in California, cannabis was considered an essential business. We actually were doing consumer tests during COVID, where for a brand that was testing like a nanotechnology solution, and we drove around Los Angeles and dropped off THC gummies to people to take in their house. And then we did a bunch of questions, like a bunch of surveys with them after that. What we found is that nobody knew the difference between the two, the control group and the regular group. So the technology was not worth pursuing. But we did find that there was a couple of trends, right? During COVID, there was more discreet, like, so more folks were home. They were home with their families. They were looking for discretion. Delivery increased. People were open to try things. They were using different formats. And I'm wondering how any of that, like, how this is all going to like translate into the Web3 space.
I'm not sure. So, you know, for me, actually, I think that what COVID did was really prop up the flower market. So though I do know that, you know, some people were sort of at home more and were worried about discretion. I actually think that when the wheels fell off, like alcohol consumption rose. You know, you could literally just take a bong rip in between Zoom meetings because you're at home and you don't
Are
have to
you
worry
watching
about
me, Roy? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, sure. Some people, you know, worried about discretion, but I think the majority actually started consuming more freely because they were at home, taking Zoom calls in their underwear or something. But I think that what's going to happen is really, like, at least for me, I haven't seen any new brands really come out on the scene in California cannabis. So I think everybody is just sort of hanging on. Established brands are doing their best to stay afloat. I think that COVID has sort of halted technological innovations with actual cannabis brands. But what it has done is it has given sort of the time for technology companies to really develop. So some of them are like the companies that I had, but there's an entire class of sort of COVID-19 born tech companies in the cannabis space that have either just launched or about to launch that are going to be doing some pretty innovative things. I think that we're sort of approaching this perfect storm in a good way of humanity wants everything delivered to them because they got used to it during COVID, and now nobody wants to go into a store to shop for anything. And many brands are going DTC full force, and we're talking Nike, Adidas, etc. You name it. Even car companies. I was recently speaking to an executive at Hyundai, and they have a massive pilot with Amazon going on right now to sell Hyundais on Amazon. And obviously, we know that Tesla is pretty much direct to consumer. So I think that anything that is going to be sort of techno enabled means that that inventory has to be available online. Once it's available online, it creates this sort of interesting place where people with interesting business ideas and models can take that inventory, can take that cannabis product and sell it online in a creative way, whether it's inside of a game, inside of a metaverse, whether it's creating a virtual dispensary where rather than go physically into a space and have to deal with all of that, you can go into a branded experience or a branded dispensary in the metaverse that only sells products from that particular brand speak to someone who works at the brand, speak to other consumers who love that brand and consume that brand and have dialogue with them. And I think that these are the exciting things that are going to come out of COVID from what I'm seeing as it relates to the cannabis space.
Yeah, I definitely am aligned with a lot of those ideas. Anyone else here want to jump in before I'm gonna go ahead and let the folks in the audience know if you'd like to come up, ask a question, share a project that you're working on, make a comment, chime in, whatever, you are welcome. We do have an open stage, which means that we do allow you to talk about other projects. We just ask that everybody is respectful to one another. So feel free to raise your hand and come on up. And in the meantime, we're just going to keep on chatting. We talked about utility, right? So I heard inclusivity, accessibility. I want to just like go back a little bit. No, I'm actually going to skip that. Rewards and loyalty programs, right? Which I think is really big. Subscription type services. I know I was talking to Joe Sweetleaf the other day from Sweetleaf, and they're, from the oldest California cannabis brand. And for them, I'm going to misquote it, but it's something like every ounce someone purchases a free gram goes to veterans, medical cannabis. So I know like philanthropy, uplifting of others, building, funding for other people to add things are all part of where we are. And Jarrett, you had your hand up, so I want to let you add to what I was just saying here.
Well, actually, I had a question sort of off what Roy was saying, and maybe it's because I'm in Canada, where I think things are a little more, maybe more restrictive. But this idea of brands selling their stuff inside the metaverse, I mean, here in Canada, it can only go through really government-owned dispensaries or government-licensed dispensaries. Is that the same thing? Like, is that not the same thing in the U.S.? Is it possible to actually sort of, because I have friends who have cannabis companies up here, and I'm talking to them about their marketing, and it's so restrictive that something like selling your stuff direct to consumer inside the metaverse, is that even?
Yeah, the short answer
go ahead.
is absolutely allowed. The short answer is it's absolutely allowed. And I have a first-hand experience of how things are in Canada. We're actually launching the Click Spray in the province of Quebec, which I'm sure you know is probably the most restrictive. But no, in the United States, you already have plenty of delivery services, quote unquote, you can call them that, that advertise tons of cannabis inventory that is in their warehouses, and you can literally order online and get it in 15 minutes or less delivered to your home by a private company, by an independent company that has a license from the state. So the government is not involved in that sense. It's not like, I think it's the SQDC or something like that in Quebec, at least. So in the Quebec, United States, in the United States, or I can speak specifically, that's not an issue, and you can sell in privately owned dispensaries. You can own a private delivery service, and there's an entire supply chain where you buy as a licensed retailer, you buy the product wholesale, it's your product, and you can market and sell it in various ways. There are advertisement restrictions, you can't use cartoon characters and various other things like that. But I think that's also what pushes things to the internet, because online, the regulators have pretty much stayed out of that side of it. So there's a few things like an age gate that you have to put up, where someone just self-certifies that they're 21 and older. You have to list the license number, and a few other disclaimers, but that's about it. Otherwise, sell it in the metaverse, in a game, in whatever you want.
So Roy, that's very different than what you're experiencing in Canada, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not in Canada. I'm not doing this business. In Canada, I am launching Click, and yes, that is very very different. I guess the advantage of the Canadian market is that you are selling to the government, and they're a much better payer than dispensary owners. So as a brand, you're dealing with the government. That could be a blessing and a curse. The blessing side of it is the government is your buyer. And so it's sort of like working with a government contract, right? Like, they're going to pay
Right.
you and they're going to pay you on time. So that's the advantage.
Right.
Hey, Garrett, welcome to stage.
Hey, guys.
You're
Yeah.
down there listening. I'd be curious
Yeah, I
your take
wanted
on it,
to.
given your background.
Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, I ran a distribution and cultivation for about 6 years, plus like managed another company for about 4 years in the cannabis in California. And here it's kind of the way I've seen it between like online or potentially like Web3 NFT things is that there's a heavy focus on the CBD aspect because of the limited, if almost no regulatory issues, especially when it's like cross state. When it comes to the THC side of things, it actually isn't even just a state issue. It's actually a county issue as well. So it's been kind of interesting for me to like, like when I had my business here in California, you kind of stick to your neck of the woods a little bit, right? Like whether you're the NorCal or SoCal, right? You kind of like start there and then, you target the other side, right? As you build out your brand. So it is kind of an interesting, I mean, to me, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I feel like a lot of people in the THC side of things are kind of just prepping for the future. Like what they have now allows them to do what they need and it gets them through for sure. But I definitely think that a lot of the presence in like the metaverse, if you will, is like it's another avenue to bring new, fresh eyes to things, as well as potentially really, truly bring new customers into their ecosystem through what is ultimately a type of almost like advertising, right? If there's a million users one day in Decentraland, it would be worth putting a banner up, right? Or having your cannabis product available to them. So I know in the United States, it's kind of a curveball. Like I said, at the end, it kind of all kind of funnels back down to hemp and low below 1 point, whatever it is, the federal regulation THC. So we have to kind of respect both lines a little bit. That not everybody who's in cannabis is going to be dealing with all of the same issues, right?
I have a question for Garrett.
Yeah.
So considering you've been in the cultivation space in California, was it?
Correct. And distribution. No, I didn't run a dispensary though. I did, cultivation distro.
Right. How do you see the industry changing in terms of businesses in cultivation after imports are allowed for dried flower and oils for commercial purposes?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's actually a fantastic question in a funny way. I feel like not a lot of people in the cannabis industry, even here in California, the ones that I have actually become, friends with actually and have like a little relationship with. It is interesting to me how they don't seem to really calculate for that. And it heavily concerns me because that's the weird part is like when I even first started farming with a state provisional license. So before that, we were using the medical system, medical agreements, and we had all of our collective and all this other stuff. And you have a sales permit and a business too. But once they kicked in all the licensing and all that stuff, shockingly, there was kind of a reverse effect to what I think people expected, right? Like even me, I actually fall into this category. I was expecting to see a small choke on supply and a constant demand. And oddly enough, it really didn't play out that way. It seemed to just get worse for us in the wholesale side. So I will say that my opinion, and it is definitely like crystal ball-y. So like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like we don't know exactly what things will look like in 3 to 5 years, or even 10, right? But I don't think it's going to be good. I really am concerned because I look at like consumer data, and I think to myself, okay, like, well, who's going to walk into the gas station and buy this vape cartridge made by Miracle Grow and Philip Morris, right? It's a lot of people. So it is kind of a weird thing where I think it's something that I pushed a lot in my business, and it seems like all the companies that I've seen who've had success that were in kind of my category of like a smaller business, you got a brand. It's like super crazy important. Like it's like, you know, if you're gonna make a pair of shoes, well, anybody can make shoes, right? And your shoes might be better than the other guy, but now you need branding, you need advertisement. So I definitely see it as an interesting curveball in the future for people who don't pay attention. If you're paying attention, hopefully your company will maybe hedge a little bit of your investment for other states as it moves into that mode, and you will be able to leap into it a little stronger. But there's definitely a lot of unknown factors, right? One day we might be getting our California weed from fucking Nebraska, right?
Right, right. Or you may be getting it from Colombia.
Yeah.
Fiddy, can you raise your hand again? Sorry. There you go. I'm sorry. I'm bringing people up, but by mistake, I hit the wrong button. Okay.
The reason why I say Colombia, you know, just if I may speak.
Of course.
Yeah. The reason why I'm saying Colombia, you know, I believe, you know, based on my research, it's a minimum cost of production per $1 per gram in the States, right? And, you know, U.S. is in a trade deficit, importing more than they're exporting. So once imports are allowed for the U.S., there's only, well, not just one main country. There are many countries that they could import, especially from South America. But one of the leaders in that space is going to be, you know, in my opinion, based off my market research, is Colombia. You know, with the cost of production of 10 cents per gram, Colombian companies can supply a pound of cannabis for 250 USD. And so back to my question with what your idea is of cultivation facilities and how they will adapt. You know, I believe they will just slowly go out of business as distributors, start sourcing or, you know, their cannabis overseas, and, you know, either starting their own cultivation facilities overseas or sourcing from a existing cultivation facility. And that's what we're doing with Cannafarm. We're essentially setting up ourselves for that wave that is going to trigger a micro recession in the cannabis industry, especially with cultivation facilities when they start laying off jobs and then facility starts closing down, because business could be done elsewhere for cheaper prices. And consumers at the end of the day demand a high quality product at a low cost. You know, the consumers will end up creating that shift, and so will lobbying in the industry, because there's more money to be made with those laws in place. You know, you take a look at Europe, you take a look at Germany. You know, Germany's importing a ton of cannabis. Canada's exporting a ton of cannabis. Currently, right now, Canada is trying to include cannabis into their free trade agreement. And once that happens, you can only think that, I mean, imports are going to be more than they're exporting.
If I may jump in, only to offer a potential contrarian view, and I think neither of us know where the future will go, but just to offer an alternative theory, and I hear what you're saying in sort of an open market. There's definitely a chance you could be right, and this could happen, and maybe it should happen. But I think that the cannabis industry is a lot more complex. It's got a historical background of a lot of things, whether it's incarceration of minorities, whether it's a history of just being illegal and a controlled substance. And then most recently, it's got this local industry that billions of dollars have been poured into to build these cultivation facilities, et cetera, here in California. Let's say specifically about California. So I don't think that people who have a lot of vested interest in cannabis are going to go quietly into the night and let cheap, high quality product be imported internationally. And I think that even if on the federal level, you know, so much has to happen on the federal level, that's got to be allowed. That's number one, which is not allowed currently. But even if it is allowed federally to import into any state in the United States, I think you have all these micro communities. First of all, you have the state of California, who may be lobbied against, because all the people who put billions of dollars to build this infrastructure are not going to want to see all of that evaporate over the night. And so
Right.
I just think that there could be a lot of people not lobbying for that because they want to get a return on all of the infrastructure they had built in California. I also think in general that's going to happen even when the federal government opens up cannabis or gets out of its way. I believe that states are going to prohibit the importation of cannabis between states or do intrastate agreements where they're sharing in the tax revenue. So I don't think that it's going to be as clear cut as corn.
Yeah, I kind of
Right.
agree with you on that, Roy, too. That's
I
you
came.
go to places like Oklahoma or
Listen,
Michigan.
I popped in here to get high, and you guys are all like talking serious. What's going on here?
Hey!
I mean, right. If I was in the cultivation business in the States, I wouldn't want to believe that the market's going to shift to imports, but that'd be just,
What's interesting about it is if you simplify almost both of what you're saying, it's basically pointing towards the fact that we're becoming a traditional industry that functions on the same basis as much. So it's like it isn't. It's to me, it's not exactly favorable for those who aren't thinking about it. I think if people are prepared and they're thinking about it, they're probably going to do well. And it kind of goes back to that marketing thing. Where like, here, let me ask a question because it's kind of fun. What I would say the premier highlight hilariously is still flower. So when I think about like I'm in California, where am I getting my flower? Colombia versus California, right? So what are your guys' thoughts on like the value of the flower versus like would you rather make products, right? Like where would you think you would put your weight in that quality for your brand?
Well, in terms of quality, just because you're cultivating overseas doesn't mean the quality diminishes. You have some top of the line strains and cultivation facilities producing medical grade pharmaceutical cannabis. So considering the quality of the product doesn't diminish where you actually cultivate it or produce the product, and you simultaneously could reduce the cost. At the end of the day, will reduce the cost for consumers, and therefore benefit insurance companies that cover these costs if they need be, right? If people need insurance for their medicine, it's just a win-win. And I believe this industry is inevitable. I mean, you guys can think all of the micro challenges or micro interstate things, but at the end of the day, it's gonna happen, and you might as well have that open mindset, because if you're cultivating, your business should be overseas. You should be looking at Colombia. You should be looking at other countries in South America. I specifically chose Colombia because I've done my market research, and Colombia is one of the largest exporters of flowers in the world. So marijuana is a flower, that, and it's going to be one of the most in-demand flowers that there is. So, yeah, I stand strong with my opinion. I mean, yeah, sure, there can be micro challenges throughout the way, but ultimately the market's going to shift, and it's going to shift, and it's going to leave a lot of people behind that have a stagnant belief in staying cultivating in the States or interstate trade. I don't see that lasting.
Hey guys, I just wanted to pop in and say hello. I have a music space I have to be on with Ryan. Hey Roy, what's up, man?
Hey, long time, buddy.
Yeah, Hugh, thank you for the invitation. I actually have to go, but I just wanted to just drop my 2 cents. So if you guys don't know Roy is the CEO and owner of Click, and also he's got extensive experience. He's sold companies billions of dollars. I mean, this is the guy to ask. He really knows the stuff. I wish I could hang out and chat with you guys, but I have a space. But if you guys would keep talking about this, I'd love to come back in about an hour. But I just want to say hi and thank you for the opportunity to come up and say hello.
Thank you, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, you owe me a call.
I will call you.
Talk to you guys soon.
So, here's what I know, that since I've been in the cannabis space, I've never met anyone in the cannabis space that doesn't like to talk about cannabis. And now I'm going to ask you a question about cannabis and Web3. What do you think? Now, all of those challenges, right? Do you think that the blockchain technology helps to solve any of those challenges or no?
Absolutely. One of the ways would be seed to sale tracking.
There you go. Right. Let's hear about that. That's what that. So I always think, like somebody mentioned it earlier too, right? Like it's going beyond the PFP, right? And then it's utility, and at the end of the day, it's the digital certificate of ownership and tracking, right? And if you think about all of these things in our world, right, that need that type of it's a registration, it's a ownership, it's a certificate, it's a membership, it's a anything you belong to or own, right? It now records it, and that whole seed to sale, and then going all the way through, right, to even then at that point of sale. So tell us a little bit about how you think that. I agree with you.
If I may, I would say I'm a huge believer that the future of cannabis is in branding. Regardless of who's right and where flower prices are going to go by the pound and whether it's going to be locally grown or imported, I think that in the end, the sort of the cultivation of cannabis is going to relatively be a commodity play. So whoever can grow at the right quality for the right internal price where they can make margin, and you can grow outdoor, you can grow indoor, low, mid, and high quality. You invest more in the cultivation, you can command a higher price. And then if you can do it at scale, you can have a successful business being a cultivator of a commodity like avocados or tomatoes or anything else. But I think where the future of the cannabis industry gets really interesting is in the world of branding, just like anything else. And so I think that that's where you get to see the sort of intersection between where cannabis is going and where Web3 is developing, because I do believe that Web3 is uniquely primed to be a launching ramp for cannabis brands, primarily because I think that cannabis people are, by and large, people who live on the edge, people who like to take risks, people who are open-minded and looking for new things and new ideas. And I think that there's a very strong correlation between cannabis consumers and NFT people from the NFT community. So I think that it sort of goes hand in hand. And in fact, those are long conversations that Fidi and I have had, because he launched the ape community, and Fidi and I know each other on a personal level, but as we were sort of talking about it, and he did an unofficial poll and talked to all of the people in his crypto community, he said, what is you guys' opinion on cannabis? And 102% of them all raised their hand and said, we all partake, we all consume cannabis. There's a very strong correlation, which I think that if you are trying to launch a cannabis brand, you should take a hard look at the NFT community, because you will find a very passionate, dedicated, motivated group of people that can really participate in your brand. And they participate in a number of ways. Number one, they can be the consumers, the buyers of your product, but they can also be investors or folks that are helping you grow your brand because they're a member of this digital community.
100%. Absolutely.
I was going to say,
yeah, go ahead. I know that, I think did we have some other folks come on stage too?
Shock came on.
What's on here?
Yo.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a seconds to what Roy was saying there. And I'm not sure. I might have ran into you, Roy, in Clubhouse if you were ever on Clubhouse, but I think the name might have been spelled wrong. But the
yeah, I've done a few of those.
Okay, the basis of knowledge sounded just right, and we had spoken before, and I remember it was ultimately enlightening. And so I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts on this conversation, which has been very, very both sides are very well spoken and very well iterated, and I think we're all really fighting the same side of of the same battle, just from different perspectives. But I think that we might be leaving out some important really crucial information as far as where the future is actually going to take us. You know, if you ask anybody in the space, and just for I guess a relevancy of purpose of opinion, I built two of the top hemp brands in Dallas myself in terms of cannabis boutiques, and um, outside of that, I did marketing and advisory, spoke all over on compliance, and that was pretty much my leeway. I got out of the space in 2020 for crypto when Texas started cutting regulations after we lobbied in the Farm Bill. And so it's kind of I've always looked at it from a compliance type of mindset. Whenever I was advising on these brands, and whether they be big brands or whether it be small, small farms just trying to make a brand positioning or brand differentiation from their particular regional market. What I found in my research and my study was that it's not purposeful or it's not accidental that weed's not legal like all the way across the country federally right now, right? It's not accidental. They're actually reducing the prevalence obviously outside of major metropolitan populated areas. They're actually reducing a lot of the prevalence in places like where I'm at in Texas. Um, and they're making it harder, even if it's not from a acquisition standpoint. They're making it harder from a distributor and a the market side standpoint than they are any other substance that would even be in that same realm. What they're studying now is the fact that if you guys have ever been to Utah, Utah doesn't have any alcohol stores that are privately owned. It's all state owned. Okay, it's all it's state liquor stores, what it's called. You can go there in any city in Utah, and what the goings on is the government is literally trying to organize and suffocate the industry just enough to where they can start to implement a state run taxable system. It's the same thing as we're suffering with crypto. Like they want the taxes, right? They don't like crypto, although a lot of people are really naive to it and think, oh, well, CBDCs are cool and that's fine and dandy if you think that, but they would much rather them not exist. Just like they would much rather have all the control of taxation over marijuana because it's such a strong cash crop. The infrastructure is being put in place behind the scenes right now. It's the main reason why we get all the holdups at the FDA, whether it's on the hemp side or the THC side. And so, what Garrick said was really insightful and really smart in the fact that when it comes to preparation, right? If you know these things, or at least has some adherence, I don't expect anybody to believe me all the way through, as much sense or not as it makes. But when you at least have some conscious awareness and you can start to do your own deep dives into the possible outcomes, right? And you start working back from reverse some outcomes, and you look at the differentiator. Anybody that's been in the space will tell you um, anybody that's good at, understands marketing in the space will tell you that Roy's absolutely right as well too. The only really chance you're going to have is a brand differentiation, and because they're going to suffocate the industry for you, there's actually going to be an opportunity there. Or if you can adjust to certain regulations or adjust to certain practices or exports imports or just whatever the hell it is that you're doing, even if it's under the radar, the way you market and brand yourself is going to leave you as one of the very few left. And, really, you should be looking towards partnering with some of these companies that are going to be called up or initiated whenever the government starts to run these type of facilities and really start to implement the state by state basis. Being partnered with these companies that are going to be at the forefront of that is probably the smartest thing that you can look to do. If you have a cultivation or distribution facility, being registered is going to be awesome. So that's just what I had to say as far as that goes. But it's good to thank you for letting me come up, and good to see you as well, Garrett, as always. And yeah, and you as well, Roy, for sure. And great space that you're holding. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I feel like this recording should go in like a time capsule somewhere, right? Because everybody had their predictions. Gina, I think why don't we do a ETH giveaway, and then we can get back in, jump in, because we've got about 20 minutes left. And then I also want to remind everybody to scroll through the tweets at the top. If you enjoyed what our panelists up here had to say today, please give them a follow. I think if you take a look up there, you'll see an offer if you would for a whitelist registration. So take a look at that. And then Gina she will tell us when she is ready. And then we might have, hey, Chakram, yeah, hold on one sec. So Gina, and then you know what, Gina, after, if you don't mind, then I'm going to move you down because I think we have one person to come up, but we don't have enough spots.
I'll jump down. I didn't have my hand up, I accidentally hit the button, so I
Oh,
apologize. Yeah, it worked out nice. And hi, you. Saw you over there as well too. But yeah,
good to
thank
see
you for
you.
having me. It's great timing. So appreciate you.
Yeah, I love it.
And
Thank you.
you can go ahead and put me down too. I accidentally hit the button, but that made for better sound quality. And GV, Tumulo, and everybody else.
TV.
Later.
Oh, good. You guys are great. Okay, now let's see. I don't know. I can't figure it out now. I'll have to re-request because it shows it, but I can't make it work. Gina, are we ready? She might still be drawing it. She'll tell us when she's ready. You guys can go ahead and keep chatting. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to be minimally audio. Whatever. I'm not going to talk as much.
I know one of the things that I was thinking about was, well, and here in California especially, metric is nuts. It was definitely my most hated part of running that company for the last 4 years. But yeah, I'm really curious what people think about blockchain and metric. But it looks like Gina's ready, and maybe we could talk about some of that technology with blockchain. How's it going, Gina?
Sorry, guys, I was muted. All right. Just drew somebody, and it's Half Baked 888.
Woo!
Congrats.
What's he rocking there? He's got a pretty sweet. Is that a doodle? Is he rocking a doodle? Nice.
Are they in here?
Yeah.
Is he in here?
You
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
come on
yeah.
stage,
You
or
gotta
should we
do.
just message him?
Come on stage and make a speech.
Speech.
You can message your wallet address to the ISA Twitter. Follow ISA and then message Twitter, please, so we have your wallet. And come on up.
Hey, this is Hugh. I just want to thank everybody again for taking the time out. I had a quick question that I was going to ask everybody up here. I know many of you have come on as panelists, but I wanted to find out, what's your
Hey,
ask?
how's
What do
everybody
you look?
Yo.
Yeah. So can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we were
Yes,
bringing
we can.
We had a quick delay. We had a delay between.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for the panelists, what are you guys looking for? What kind of relationships are you trying to build? If we can help you with something for your business, your brand, your project, I'd like to go through the panelists and just have you guys kind of do an ask, like, where do you want people to go? Do you want them to check out a website? You guys have taken out your time to be here today, but what are you looking for with your business? Are you looking for a bigger community? I'd love to have each one of you share for like 1 or 2 minutes, like what you are looking for and how we can help you.
Well, let's congratulate Half Baked really quick, and then let's immediately go to that.
Sounds good. Congratulations, Half Baked.
Congratulations, Big. Thank you for spending your time here. I hope it was also informative.
Yeah, I'm having a great time listening. I appreciate it. I'm having a great time listening in, smoking, chilling, enjoying the vibe.
I love it. Great. And now you have $100 more in ETH, which is what, equivalent to like 18 Ethereum? Just kidding. Okay.
No,
I don't know.
you.
I don't look. Yeah, you bet. And then, okay, now we'll open it up, which is like perfect timing. We've got about 15 minutes left. So please also, go ahead. I'm going back on pause. Mute, not pause.
So we have which one of we have Tumo, Canna, Jarrett, Looks like the three. And then if we have someone down below, we need to bring up maybe Monster Buds or any of these groups who have cannabis or cannabis in Web3 would like to share what they're looking for in insights, or what they're looking for in response, or what they're interested in achieving. Do you want to go first, Canna Farm?
Sure, thank you. Basically, right now we are focused on building a solid community of people who believe in the project that we're doing at Canna Farm. I didn't get into all the details exactly about our game and how it'll work based off of the supply and demand of our network of distribution and supply being our facilities, but we definitely do have something great going on here, where holding a token gets you 20% of the business profit. You can trade, each NFT is backed by a cannabis strain, so you can trade these NFTs, and then based off of where the majority of the sales are coming from, the profit will be distributed to those that have the top selling strains. And so it creates a kind of a trading aspect to our game. So if you'd like to check us out, you can start by going to our Twitter, and in our Discord we have a complete roadmap. You can even look through our Twitter feed. We have our website at cannafarmclub.io. We have our white paper uploaded on our Discord, and just check out the Discord, check out the community that we have going on. Right now, it's just mainly community building. We're getting into game development next, and then after game development, which is in phase 3, we're going to phase 4, which is the business development side, where we're going to start building our cultivation facilities in Colombia to start exporting to Germany and other markets in Europe.
Is there a tweet that you would like to post to the top of the room?
Sure. I mean, right now we're doing an NFT giveaway. So that's the pinned tweet that I have in the Twitter post. So I will post that here for anyone wanting to join that giveaway.
Fabulous. So don't forget to scroll through at the top. If you're new to space, you'll see like those little dots up towards, you'll see the title, and then underneath you'll see a tweet, and then you'll see like little dots, and those little dots each represent a tweet. You can scroll through it.
Absolutely. There it is. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Tumulo, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, Monster Buds. I mean, basically, we've got a solid community. That's one thing that I've been talking about. Like, again, cannabis bringing people together, and our community is so strong. Like every time somebody jumps in the Discord, they're friendly. They're always there to help. So really, just extension of brand is what we would look for as an ask. We're building Monster Buds as a global cannabis brand, and we're using kind of a soft approach, making it approachable for people to come in, whether they're major cannabis users or not. So we are approaching like CBD, and we've got some Delta 8 products coming, and also with the cannabis side of things. So the way we're doing this is we have our play to earn game that we're developing currently, and we're in the final stages and testing. So we've been balancing for like the last 30 days. And, it's super fun. It's a smoke session game. So you take 3 buds and you go into a smoke session with 3 other buds. And it's, you're basically throwing the other team, and you're targeting like one of the attributes. So each bud has up to 8 attributes, and it could be like same thing as they're bottled after a cannabis strain. So it's happy, sleepy, euphoric, all that stuff. So like, let's say if you have a team and I wanted to hit you with a bong hit, I can target euphoric. And if you have any buds that are euphoric, they're going to get hit harder than anybody else. So we have like really cool custom cards, which we also could bringing our brands into that. Like, so we partner with Packwoods, and they have one thing that we're doing with them that's going to be unique. They're minting their Packwoods blunts at the end of the month. And you can actually take a Monster Bud and smoke one of those blunts in this crazy machine that this guy Jerry created. and it creates a Packwoods bud that you could play in the game that's a little bit more powerful than the other buds. So we're kind of using cannabis to bring them into this game, and then we're also going to be able to have real life, deals. Like, let's say you go into a dispensary and you pick up a Packwoods blunt, you scan the QR code, and it would give you a card that you can actually use in the game, and it's a one-time use card. But it will be an NFT. So you would all of a sudden get a card NFT. You could use it in the game and burn it, or you can sell it or do whatever you want with it. So we're building value on multiple fronts throughout the entire ecosystem. So, really just expansion of our brand through other partners in the cannabis industry is kind of what we look to do.
That's awesome. Cool. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Hey,
thanks for having us.
Tumulo, while you're here, can I connect with you in the background, because I'm actually working with someone or an entity who you guys, or according to them, you guys have worked with them on the back end, and I just want to pick your brain about them, because it's just crazy because they referenced you guys and now you're in here, like totally random. I didn't expect to see you guys in here, but
Yeah,
I'd love to pick your brain about them.
Yeah, anytime, man. Hit me up.
Sweet.
Baron, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, everybody? I just popped in, saw a weed theme room, and I'm helping a weed theme project, so I figured I'd pop in and hear what's going on with everybody. And well, I've been smoking anyway, so figured it was thematic for my day.
Did you want to tell us about the project you're working on?
Sure. I'm helping the homie down below, Richie Rich. He put together a clever project called Half Baked, which is going to help people kind of grow their IP that do have Yuga Lab assets. So Bored Apes will end up on weed bags, and Mutants will be on extracts, and I think something like that. And then there's going to be codas on sublingual strips, and just a fun, different way to kind of do revenue share and also help people grow their IP simultaneously. You may not know it. We've been hosting a lot of spaces talking about it, and he can do a much better job explaining it than I can. But that's what we're working on.
Love it. We were talking
I
earlier
love that
about
idea.
the success has to do with the marketing and the branding. So,
Well, and it's kind of interesting that you're focused on. This is something I've only had a couple of talks with other people about other products, but I love the idea that you're thinking, okay, there's how many people sitting around with IP rights, and it's just like they need a little foundation to stand on. So I think that's a very, very good strategy, and you're really being a little clever about it. So love it.
And so what I like about it too is I met Richie at NYC NFT, and he was telling me that he has these existing licensing businesses already in place, and by doing this NFT to help people kind of get their IP on packaging, it was going to be a clever way to kind of grow a community around this product and offer all this help, but also create these other opportunities for revenue for people. And it makes sense as like the next wave of NFTs being revenue share, and at the same time, if you could build your IP, like, why wouldn't you do both? So I actually pinned up above the packaging they're using, and they're developing the packaging still, but it's even the packaging is quite clever.
In California, make sure they get those child safe bags. Packaging in California, cannabis is like a nightmare.
we consumer test those packages with kids.
Dude,
I believe
crazy.
them.
And let them play and see if they can open them.
I think I still have several thousand bags sitting in a container somewhere, like the mountain, like just, oh my God.
They're definitely me proof. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's the best part, is when you give them, or, to customers, your samples, or you're selling stuff, people are trying it out and they can't open it. It is like hilarious how many people just like grab a pair of scissors.
So I mess with the Kiva bars a lot, and they've changed the Kiva bar packaging like twice, I think, already, dude. And yeah, my second time around with that thing was pretty challenging.
Did we get an opportunity to hear from everyone?
Yeah, did Monster Bud speak? Oh yeah, Jarrett.
Yeah, I'll jump in, and I'll just say I agree with you. I go for the scissors. I don't even bother trying to open those things anymore. It's just too crazy. So I'll just say with Fusely, we've done some great work with the channel partners who we've been working with. who includes Stan Lee and Cheech and Chong and the Iron Sheik, Frank Zappa. But during this moment, during crypto winter, while we're planning and setting our format with Fuserly, I've started consulting on some other projects as well. So if anyone has an interesting project and is looking for help from a community engagement standpoint, which is kind of my sweet spot, I have a little bit of bandwidth right now, so feel free to reach out.
Does it have to be cannabis related? Because what I'm working on isn't.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
I'm much more focused on the entertainment space than the cannabis space, which is why I've been sort of quiet tonight, because this isn't totally my wheelhouse. But yeah, I'm working sort of across. I work across entertainment, all verticals in entertainment.
Cool.
I think entertainment integrates into a lot of these brands. When you look at what Monster Bud's doing with like events and a lot of these events within the NFT or the Web3 space, I think we're trying to integrate, fun, community, social aspects. I mean, this is the stuff we've been all deprived of during COVID, look at where people are now,
Absolutely, man. I tell people if they want boring, go to stocks, right? We're in crypto for the entertainment,
Yeah.
Of course, we're in for the money, but we're also here for
such
fun.
a great layer, and it makes so much sense to connect those two.
I mean, when you go to NFT LA or NFT NYC, most of the networking is happening outside at the social events, at the entertainment, mingling, networking with different people. So it's like the magic in between, some of the other stuff.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't go to one single NFT NYC actual forum. I went to all the parties and that was it. It was crazy.
Man, it does seem like you almost don't quite need a ticket inside the events, because there's just going to the events is exponential networking, and it's doing both is fun too, but I'd almost encourage, just from my last experience and a few of my friends who go almost religiously, some of them have given up on the tickets and they just go and they figure it out. Yeah.
It's like showing up at a Dead show without a ticket.
That's what I'm doing for Vegas.
That's the best.
Oh my God. We need a shakedown street for NFT events.
There you go.
Yes.
Grilled cheeses all day long.
Yes, and apple pie and bubbles. Ask me later. I think my mom's in here. No, I'm just kidding. I think she is in here, but she's heard it all. Okay, we have 2 minutes. Would anybody like to close us out? Have we given away? Let's give everybody a chance to scroll through the top, follow the links, follow the folks on stage. If you are down in the audience, look to your right, look to your left, look up, look down, check out their profile. The person above you, below you might be someone super interesting. Give them a follow. Send out a nice message that says hello. People like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you guys go through the nest, if you can just like and retweet, all the posts that are up there, that'd be cool, so we can share the love, and I'm sure we'll all give it back to each other. So if you guys could do that, that'd be awesome.
I feel like crypto and cannabis should be a continued topic here on Twitter. There's not enough of it. That's a good one. I really appreciate everybody sharing here. There's a lot of very experienced people.
Month, Garrett.
So
you can come back every Tuesday for the rest of the month.
I can.
Yes, you can.
I thought you were just going to send me the documents and I wasn't supposed to come.
No, you are now allowed to come. And then on the entertainment side, so when we what's after this month? August. So August is going to be all about entertainment and media and the impact on technology on the whole space, basically. So we're going to dive into that for the month of August.
Man, we could probably
if anybody here wants to come back, by all means, come back, next Tuesday and bring more people. This is a great conversation. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thanks, everybody.
We will
Really enjoyed it.
post and send you out the recording. Thank you so much to the panelists. I have seen some great quotes already be pulled for some wise wisdom from y'all. So we're excited to follow up with you. Hope to see you next week. And stay safe and stay healthy. And I'm going to go back to bed now.
Get better, Jax.
Yeah, I hope you get better.
Care.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
You bet. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.